all so much for coming out today. My name's Ashley Carrick. I am really pleased to have everybody here. And before I talk a little bit about this race and my candidacy, I just want to say a huge thank you to Teal Bells, who's not here today. She's actually on a rafting trip, and more power to her. She, if you don't know her, is a fantastic small business owner and aerial silk performer and outdoors woman. I had the pleasure of going to UAF with her, and I'm really, really proud of everything she's been able to accomplish in the Fairbanks community, including opening Golden Heart Performing Arts and essentially creating from the ground up the aerial silks community in this town. And also recently opening up Lumi Coffee Company, which if you hadn't had a chance yet to get a coffee, they are also fantastic, and the menu changes every month. I also really want to thank my husband, Matthew, and my campaign manager, Stuart. This is a team of 3 that is working incredibly hard every single day. All 3 of us have other jobs besides this work, and that's not true of every campaign. Some campaigns have the luxury of having a full-time campaign manager or a full-time treasurer, and this campaign is doing all of that work with people who have full-time day jobs, and I think that's something that I'm really proud of, and it's amazing to see that investment in my race. So that being said, I am really pleased to see everybody here. For those that maybe don't know me as well, I am a 4th generation lifelong Alaskan, and I'm running because I believe in Alaska's ability to thrive. I tell people all the time that I'm all in for Alaska because I would rather be in this state on its worst day than any place else on its best day. And I truly mean that. Many of my family have decided to move out of state at different times or go move on to other things. But for me, from the minute I was a kid growing up in Anchorage to my decision to come to UAF and stay in Fairbanks, I've never once questioned my desire to be in Alaska or to work for Alaskans. And over the last 6 years, I've had the extreme pleasure of working as Adam Wool's Chief of Staff in the House. That's given me a tremendous experience working in the Alaska State Capitol, boots on the ground, understanding both the procedural and the political dynamics that exist in Juneau. And I had never really thought I would be in this position. I did not get a degree in political science. I knew from the time I was a little kid that I wanted to major in psychology, so I did that. I graduated in 2014 with a minor in secondary education as well. And I thought for the longest time that what I wanted to do was work in public health. So while working in the legislature, I got my master's in public health and graduated in 2020. And so my background is pretty diverse. While I've worked in politics, I've worked in the nonprofit sector, most recently as the executive director for Tanana Valley Watershed Association. I've also taught and worked with youth in the community as a counselor for the Rural Alaska Honors Institute, as a substitute teacher, and working with youth with the American Lung Association on tobacco prevention. So my background wasn't just politics, but one thing that I learned working in the legislature is how deeply impactful policy can be on the direction we go as a state. And I also really loved the process of working in the building, carrying legislation, having relationships with people from all kinds of different political parties and backgrounds, and just getting a chance to network with other Alaskans and work hard for the state. So it's now become my calling. And when I found out that there was an opportunity to run for the West Fairbanks district, I got energized. Because as long as I've been in Fairbanks, West Fairbanks has been my home. It's the place that I love. I absolutely loved living and working on the UAF campus. I've lived out in Esther for 6 years, and now I live off Sheep Creek Road. And I cannot imagine a better place in the state to be running to represent. I love this community, and I love our state, and I want to see us thrive. And that said, there are some really big challenges on our horizon. There are also incredible opportunities. My 3 platform goals are to promote Alaska's economic future and have fiscal stability. A couple things there. I believe the Permanent Fund is a huge financial resource for us, and to overdraw that fund and potentially squander that resource for future generations is deeply short-sighted. And so I will work to ensure that that does not happen. I also believe that we have adopted an attitude at times of let's cut our way to prosperity. And I don't believe that that's the way we get to a thriving future for Alaska's economic situation. I think the time of making large budget cuts is over. If we make further cuts, they should be through making efficiencies. And it's time to use a scalpel instead of an axe. Additionally, I believe in preserving education. Education is so critically important to our state, but it's also so important to this district. I was mentioning earlier that I can't imagine the legislator for the West Fairbanks area not being the strongest legislator in the Alaska capital on the university. That to me just wouldn't make any sense. And one of the reasons I decided to run was because I see a potential gap with Adam Wool's retirement on who is going to take up the mantle to really support higher education in this state. And so I want to take up that mantle. Our K-12 system has similar challenges. We are not retaining teachers in the district, and the faith and confidence that parents, families, and educators have in our school system is challenged right now. And one of the best ways we can reinvigorate our community is by reinvesting in education through forward funding, through assuring a stable and predictable retirement and benefit system for educators. And my third platform stance is protecting the health, safety, and well-being of Alaskans. When I was getting my master's in public health, I really developed a passion for mental health issues, and particularly the prevention of firearm violence. So that's a major area of interest for me, and I think that there's a much needed voice on those issues in the legislature. I also believe that we need to invest in public safety and really work hard to find community resources that work best for some of those challenges. And something I've noticed is, while we have had continued budget stagnation, and we've worked from one year to the next just kicking a can down the road and making last-minute desperate decisions in special sessions or right before the end of the fiscal year, all of our other major issues, like education, like public health and public safety, have stagnated. They've moved off to the back burner, and we're not able to talk about those issues. So it's time that we get back to talking about the issues that are really important in this state, and that we focus on investing in our future and the opportunities available to us. Whether that's through Alaska's abundant renewable resources, natural resources, or new things like the recreational economy in this state. There's a lot of things that we can do as a state and as a community to further our future, and I want to work really hard to make that vision possible. So I am all in for Alaska, and I recognize that many people can't make the decision that I can make to stay here regardless of what happens. But I want to make sure we have a future where nobody leaves Fairbanks or leaves Alaska because of something like a retirement system that's not working. I want to make sure people are able to stay here and thrive here, and I care about the future 50 years from now, not just next year, not just 5 years from now. I care about what Alaska looks like for our children and our grandchildren, and I will work as hard as I can, absolutely every day in the legislature, to make sure that future becomes a reality. Thank you all so much.